Disney's Adventure Stories. The Emperor's New Groove. The Emperor and the Peasant. Once upon a time, there lived a selfish young emperor named Cusco. He had plans to destroy an entire peasant village just so he could build his own fabulous summer getaway, Cuscotopia. Pacha, one of the peasants who lived in the village, was summoned to the palace to learn about Emperor Cusco's plan. Pacha was terribly upset. What will I tell the village and my family? He wondered. Downhearted, he loaded his cart and set off for home. When he arrived, Pacha noticed a strange sack on his cart. It was moving, and inside was a talking llama, a very rude talking llama. Pacha was shocked when he discovered that the creature was Emperor Cusco himself. What happened? Pacha asked, pointing to the emperor's new hooves. Cusco looked down and screamed in horror. Until that very moment, he had not realized what had happened to him. His advisor Isma had tried to poison him but had accidentally changed him into a llama instead. Remembering none of this and not knowing he had enemies at the palace, the emperor demanded that Pacha return him to his home. The peasant refused. Unless the emperor would agree to build Cuscotopia somewhere else, Pacha would not help him find his way back. Angrily, the stubborn llama strutted off into the jungle alone. Pacha called out after him, shouting warnings about jaguars, snakes, and quicksand. But Cusco paid no attention. Before long, he had accidentally awakened a pack of sleeping jaguars. Cusco took off with the jaguars hot on his heels. Lucky for him, the kind-hearted Pacha had followed. Costco, knowing the emperor would never survive in the jungle on his own. So just when it looked as if all hope was lost for the emperor, Pacha swung in on a vine, rescuing Cusco from some hungry jaguars. But then the vine wrapped itself around a high tree branch until Pacha and Cusco were tied down tight. And that was only the beginning of their troubles. Crack! The branch broke under their weight. Still tied to the branch, Pacha and Cusco bounced down the mountain and into a rushing river. They tumbled and bobbed in the fast-flowing water. Then they sailed over a roaring waterfall and fell into the swirling mist below. The fall snapped the vines, and Pacha was able to wriggle free and pull the unconscious Cusco to the riverbank. That night, Pacha tried once more to convince Cusco to cancel his plans to destroy his village. But even after Pacha had saved his life, Cusco refused. "Unless you change your mind, I'm not taking you back," said Pacha. The next morning, the emperor seemed to have a change of heart. He suggested that he might not destroy Pacha's village after all. Pacha believed him, so he shook Cusco's hoof and led him on through the jungle. So he shook Cusco's hoof and led him on through the jungle. "Follow me," said Pacha, starting across an old bridge. Suddenly, the floorboards collapsed. Pacha fell through the hole, getting tangled in a rope. "Help!" Pacha shouted, but Cusco did nothing to save him. He had lied and was still actually planning to do away with Pacha's village. Then the floorboards gave way beneath the llama. Now he was tangled in the rope, just like Pacha. Pacha and Cusco dangled over the canyon and got into a punching and kicking brawl over the lie Cusco had told Pacha. Crack! The bridge broke in half and the rope snapped. They tumbled down but ended up wedged together in a tight crevice. Pacha showed Cusco how they could work together to inch their way up the gorge, back to back. But then, as Pacha reached for a dangling rope that would save them, the llama began to slip. Costco, cried Pacha. He grabbed the llama by the tail. Somehow, in a frantic scramble, the llama and the peasant had reached the top of the cliff. But in the blink of an eye, the rocky ledge began to crumble beneath their feet. Just in time, Costco pulled Pacha backward and onto safer ground. In disbelief, Pacha stared at the llama. You just saved my life, he said. I knew that there was some good in you. From that point on, Pacha and Cusco were a team. They raced to the palace and, working together, they defeated Isma and found the antidote that turned Costco back into his human form. Through the course of Costco's adventure, he had learned about life, friendship, and how to treat people. He became a better leader. He also realized he had been wrong. Pacha's village didn't need Cuscatopia because it was perfect just the way it was. Costco enjoyed visiting his new friends in the village, and the whole kingdom enjoyed having a more compassionate ruler. The end.